Hi, welcome to my complete Herta guide. 5-star Herta is the newest character coming in the first phase of version 3.0. She's looking to be an absolute monster in AoE content like Pure Fiction, truly being the 5-star version of the Herta we already have. In this video, I'll be going through everything you need to know how to build and play the Herta, covering her best icons, relic sets, planar ornaments, teams, and many more. Before we start, I'll be giving away 2 supply passes / welcome moon to my subscribers at 7k subs, so make sure you subscribe. To begin, what does she actually do? The Herta is a 5-star ice unit following the path of your edition. Her kit revolves around her ultimate, Told Ya Magic Happens, which hits all enemies and rearranges the interpretation stacks so the elite enemies and above get the most stacks, and while also increasing her attack and granting her a turn and a stack of inspiration, which enhances her skill, which becomes Hear Me Out, which consumes 1 stack of inspiration, applies 1 stack of interpretation to the main target, and deals 4 instances of damage, 1 single target, twice blast, and once AoE. The Herta's talent, Hand Them Over, inflicts 1 stack of interpretation when the enemies enter the battle, and at the start of each wave, apply 25 stacks of interpretation to a random target, prioritizing elite enemies or above. Each interpretation stack increases the damage dealt of her enhanced skill with a max stack of 42, and a further damage dealt increase if there is another erudition character in the team. Enhanced skill resets the interpretation stacks to 1 of the main target, and when inflicted enemies dies, the stack will transfer. The Herta's normal skill, Big Brain Energy, deals 2 instances of damage, 1 single target, once blast, and can hit twice, and the Herta's technique, Vibe Checker, increases her attack, marks treasures in the map, and in SU/DU, deals 99% damage to normal enemies and 30% damage to elite or higher enemies. Moving on to the Herta's bonus traits abilities. The first, Aloof Honest, makes allies' attacks apply 1 stack of interpretation and regenerate energy for herself to all enemies hit by the attack, and also increase the damage dealt by the Herta if the enemies has max stacks of interpretation. The second, Message from Beyond the Veil, makes it so when there are 2 or more erudition units in the team, increase crit damage for everyone, makes the energy gain of the first trace, Aloof Honest, count at least 3 enemies, and apply 1 stack of interpretation to the enemy of the highest stack when attacking, with erudition characters applying 2 more. And lastly, the third, Starved Landscape of Vakua, which increases the ultimate damage multiplier for every stack of interpretation inflicted in the battle with a max stack of 99. Overall, the Herta has a very word-heavy and complicated kit, but thankfully in gameplay it is much easier as a lot of parts of her kit features very nice quality of life, like rearranging interpretation stacks on her ultimate to ensure the boss target gets hit the most, and teammates also applying interpretation stacks and granting the Herta energy to combat the stack resetting on her enhanced skill and high cost ultimate. Altogether, this all makes her a much more comfortable unit to play, with maybe keeping ultimate to use after a turn to min-max her action advance of her ultimate if you wish to do so. Something you also might have noticed is the wording on the attacks. The reason I did not gloss over them is because they are unintentional, as the brand new Remembrance MC actually looks for multiple instances of attack, and Robin also has more synergy with this mechanic as well. For the Herta's trace leveling priorities, you want to be focusing on her skill, then her talent, then her ultimate, then her basic can be ignored. Now for how to actually build her, starting with the Herta's best icons. Naturally, her best in slot will be a signature icon, Into the Unreachable Veil, which increases crit rate and when using ultimate, increase damage of skill and ultimate while also recovering a skill point if the ultimate costs 140 energy or more. As you can probably tell, this is an insane icon, possibly also a very good icon on other units too. The crit rate and damage increase is nice, but also having a skill point recovery is a very nice extra. For other options, S5 Peaceful Day will also be very good with her, as her high energy cost has great synergy with this icon, and S5 Geniuses also being pretty good too for Pure Fiction. Otherwise, S5 Cosmos, S5 Breakfast, and S5 Eternal will all be decent alternatives too, with Breakfast being the most consistent one. Next up is the Herta's best relic sets and planar ornaments. Her best in slot relic set will be the newish 4-piece Scholar set. The crit rate increase and the damage dealt increase of skill and ultimate with a further increase to skill after ultimating makes this the perfect relic set for the Herta. This set is by far the best, but for alternatives, you can look for 4-piece Hunter or 4-piece Genius as okay options too. And of course, 2-piece offensive stats will be okay as well. For best Planar Ornaments, her best in slot is Izumo Gensei, as you want to be running at least one other Eidolon unit in the team, but if you do not need the extra crit rate or have better substats, Rutilian Arena is actually equally good or even better in some situations. Otherwise, you can settle for Space Ceiling Sigonia for placeholders. Moving on to the Herta's best main stats and substats, she doesn't really have any stat breakpoints as she just wants the traditional DPS stats, so focusing on getting close to 3200 attack with a good amount of crit rate and crit ratio while going for at least 134 speed will be the ideal situation, which makes her main stats also very standard as we're looking at a crit body, favoring crit damage as the BIS, Relic, and Planar set both give crit rate, and Signature Lycron also gives crit rate, speed/attack boots. Generally 134 plus speed is recommended, but going for slower attack boots for bigger hits can also work in some teams. Ice damage balls as she gains a good amount of attack within her kit, so damage bonus is much more desired, and attack rope, which despite the high energy cost, the Luffy major traits will help with the energy enough if utilized correctly. Now for the Herta's best Eidolons. E1 essentially just increases the damage of enhanced skill and makes it so the reset of the interpretation stack is set to 15 instead of 1. E2 gains 1 stack of inspiration when any enemy reaches 42 stacks of interpretation and advances her action after using her enhanced skill. This is a very strong Eidolon as she can now hold on to multiple enhanced skills while also getting an action advance on it too. E3 and 5 are just trace levels. E4 increases the speed of all Eidolon units in the team, and E6 increases her ice resist pen and increase ultimate damage depending on the amount of enemies on the field. Overall, the Herta has some quite good Eidolons, especially E2, kinda explaining why you're able to hold onto 4 stacks of inspiration at once, as normally you're most likely not holding more than 2 at most without E2. So E2 is a great option if you want to vertically invest into your D Herta, but at E0 she is more than good enough. And for the age-old question of E1 versus S1, this time it will go to E1. Or will it? The truth for the Herta is E1 is the better option for players looking to maximize their Herta and is also halfway to the absolutely insane E2, but S1 is a much safer and comfortable option, leading to a higher damage output for more casual players. So deciding on these 2 points will be the best for you. Last but not least, the Herta's best teammates and teams. Starting off, I want to mention Jade as one of her best teammates. The Herta wants 3 primary things in her teammates: AoE attacks, skill point positive, and being the erudition path. And Jade perfectly fits in all 3 of these criteria, making this pair a must play if you have them both. But despite the synergy, Jade isn't actually a must have for the Herta, as there are many more units that can satisfy the spot Jade is in, as we get on to her best teams. The Herta's best teams will basically all follow a similar structure: herself, an erudition unit, a buffer/flex unit, and a sustain unit. One of her best team is this one, featuring Jade, Sunday, and Ling Sha. Jade's synergy is already explained, but for Sunday, Jade's SP positive actually enables the ability to play him in this team as well, making this more of a hyper carry team than an actual dual carry team. Of course, making sure you're playing the Herta at least 135 speed, with Sunday being 1 speed behind is ideal, and Ling Sha is here as although Jade's buff on the Herta will work, it is better on someone like Ling Sha who attacks much more often while also being completely AoE. But as I said before, this is a structure, a template, so other combinations of teams like this one with small Herta, Robin, and Adventuring will be great too, with a bit more synergy on FUA. Other teams like combining the classic Himiko and now with 5-star Herta will be great as expected. But if you wish to, you can actually go for a super break variant of this team with Fugue and boost some break effect on both Herta and Himiko. Otherwise, a more free-to-play friendly team like this one, using several as the second erudition unit will work great as well, and using the brand new RMC as the buffer will be a great option as well, as RMC will give crit damage and an action advance for the Herta, while also being able to use the Herta's energy gen and high instances of damage. But of course, the high energy cost for the Herta can also be a reason to use Team Yun Hua, or the high skill point cost of our teams can also be the reason to use Sparkle as well. So yeah, that does it for the Herta guide. I swear I'm actually gonna go insane if I say D one more time, but being the narcissistic queen that she is, it is no surprise that 5-star version of Herta will be called the Herta. Anyways, she's looking like a super cool unit with some amazing visuals in her gameplay. Super excited to use her, especially for the brand new revamped version of Pure Fiction. And for those that are watching around the time of the upload, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year's to everyone. Hope you guys are all having a great holiday.